I've got a fresh, original take on the latest patch for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, built as a creator-driven commentary video. So before we dive in, here's the vibe: we are not just listing patch notes. I'm dissecting what this update signals about Nintendo's strategy, what it means for players on Switch and the hypothetical Switch 2, and how this DLC tease reshapes the game's future. Let's break it down with my take, my questions, and a few predictions you can debate in the comments. Picture this: Nintendo drops patch 1.1.0 for Super Mario Bros. Wonder and immediately frames it as a bridge between the current Switch ecosystem, the rumored Switch 2, and a new paid DLC that's coming next week on March 26, 2026. That framing matters because patches usually fix bugs or tweak balance. This one is positioning itself as a doorway to a broader upgrade path. In my opinion, that's a deliberate strategy to maintain momentum after 3 updates since the game's 2023 launch. What this really suggests is Nintendo wants Wonder to feel evergreen, not just a one-and-done platformer. First big idea: Amiibo support returning with a modern twist. Personally, I think the return of Amiibo compatibility, now accessible directly in-game via a scan Amiibo option from the pause menu, signals Nintendo testing the waters for cross-promotional hooks. This isn't just nostalgia bait, it's opportunistic because Amiibo as a feature re-enters the conversation as a value add for collectors and fans who enjoy tangible ties to their digital play. What makes this really interesting is how it could intersect with the Switch 2's ecosystem. If Nintendo treats Amiibo as a scalable feature across hardware generations, we may see more nuanced in-game rewards tied to specific figures, or even exclusive content unlocked by certain Amiibo on higher-end hardware. This raises a deeper question: will Nintendo push physical collectibles as a retention tool for a more expensive, future-proof console, or keep Amiibo as a lightweight, optional flourish? From my perspective, the surprise here is that it's not just a checkbox, it's a signal that Nintendo sees value in maintaining a gateway between physical and digital in a new era. Second idea: the Switch 2 edition readiness. One thing that immediately stands out is how cleanly the patch pipeline is being prepared for a hardware upgrade. The notes say you can start playing on Switch 2 from March 26, 2026, and there's an entry point to the eShop upgrade pack on the title screen. In my opinion, this is more than a port, it's a smart roll-in. Nintendo uses Wonder as a showcase to demonstrate that the Switch 2's ecosystem will be receptive to existing first-party software with a simple, low-friction upgrade path. If you take a step back and think about it, this mirrors a software-first mindset. You can preserve your game's identity while leveraging new hardware capabilities through a paid upgrade. What this implies is a model where Nintendo tests feature gates, like higher performance, possibly faster load times, or enhanced visuals, as DLC-like enhancements rather than a full remaster. A detail I find fascinating is that Nintendo is coupling the upgrade with language support, Polish, hinting at broader international expansion and accessibility as a core part of the Switch 2 transition. Third idea: new DLC timing and strategy. The patch notes arrive alongside a firm date for the DLC and a clear upgrade path for Switch 2 owners. What this really suggests is a coordinated content cadence, ongoing content drops that keep the game relevant, with a hardware-forward incentive to upgrade. In my opinion, this isn't just about monetization, it's about sustaining a live service vibe within a traditional Mario platformer framework. The bigger implication is that Nintendo is embracing a hybrid model, seasonal or episodic content wrapped into a single, cohesive package that spans 2 hardware generations. What people don't realize is how this approach can shift expectations for other Nintendo titles. If Wonder can sustain engagement through patches, DLC, and cross-gen upgrades, we might see more games designed around a long-tail content strategy rather than a single, monumental launch. Fourth idea: language and polish as accessibility signals. A small line in the notes, Polish language support, appears alongside bigger changes for Switch 2. What this tells me is Nintendo is not treating Wonder as a stopgap. They want it to be globally accessible in a more robust way. From my vantage point, this matters because it lowers friction for non-English speaking audiences to engage deeply with the game and its DLC. It also invites a wider discussion about localization as a core feature, not an afterthought. If you zoom out, the bigger trend is clear. Nintendo's multilingual, cross-gen strategy is becoming a defining trait of how they keep big-name titles vibrant, even years after initial release. Deeper insight: what this patch reveals about Nintendo's platform politics. When I connect the dots, I see a pattern: evergreen titles, hardware-agnostic content pipelines, and optional upgrade economies. What this means for fans is access versus ownership in a new light. You can own the game in its original form, or you can opt into the Switch 2 edition with a richer feature set, faster performance, and a consolidated upgrade experience. What this really suggests is Nintendo is leaning into a model where the value proposition isn't just the game itself, but the surrounding ecosystem, upgrades, DLC, and cross-generational compatibility. People often misunderstand patches as mere maintenance. In this case, it's a strategic signal about how Nintendo views continuity and monetization as a shared responsibility between the player and the platform. Closing thought: if you're curious about the future, keep an eye on how different Nintendo franchises handle similar upgrade paths. Wonder's patch feels like a pilot for a broader policy: treat hardware refreshes as opportunities to refresh content, not just new features. That could redefine how we think about Nintendo's release cadence for 2026 and beyond. So, are you planning to jump into the Switch 2 edition on day one, or will you wait to see how the DLC rumors pan out? Drop your take in the comments. What would you want to see in the next wave of Mario Wonder content, and do you think this upgrade path is the right move for Nintendo?